Mark had been hiking for hours, pushing deeper into the forest than he'd ever ventured before, drawn forward by an unexplainable pull that seemed to tug at his very core. As the trees finally parted, he stood frozen at the sight of a weathered cabin, its windows like hollow eyes staring back at him through decades of abandonment. Something about the cabin's silent invitation made the hair on the back of his neck stand up, yet his feet carried him forward as if guided by an invisible hand. The cabin's interior smelled of damp wood and thyme, each floorboard groaning beneath his cautious steps as if awakening from a long slumber. A collection of personal effects lay undisturbed on the table: faded photographs, a leather journal with brittle pages, and a peculiar brass key that seemed to gleam despite the decades of neglect. As daylight began to fade, Mark found himself engrossed in the journal's pages, discovering the disturbing account of a man who claimed to have come to these woods to escape something inhuman. A sudden noise from outside snapped him back to reality, a distinct crack of a branch that seemed too deliberate to be caused by wind or wildlife. Peering through the broken window into the moonlit clearing, he could swear he saw shapes moving between the trees, forms that seemed to shift and change in ways no animal should. With trembling hands, he shoved the journal into his pack, knowing with sudden certainty that he needed to leave immediately, even as the rational part of his mind tried to dismiss his growing terror as imagination. As he stood in the doorway, poised between the dangers of navigating the forest at night and remaining in the increasingly oppressive cabin, Mark made his choice. But he couldn't shake the feeling that whatever had found the previous occupant had already marked him as its next visitor. He ran until his lungs burned, never looking back at the cabin that had somehow changed from an innocent discovery into a nightmare. Yet deep down, Mark knew that some discoveries can't be forgotten, and some doors, once opened, refuse to be closed.